Hi, and welcome to In My Opinion Nation. Each week we break down an episode of the hit 90s sitcom Blossom. I'm your host, Eric, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mallory and Jen. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Splendid.
Good.
Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of deja vu, but I don't know why. So today, we're looking at the 4th episode of Season 1. Who's in charge here? Who is? Is it me? No, it's never me. It's always Mallory. The episode is aired.
It's Tony Danza.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's be honest. He wasn't the boss there.
No, he wasn't.
No, he really wasn't. So this episode aired on January 21st, 1991, back when I was just a wee little 9-year-old. So, you know, it blew my brain when it came out. It was obviously directed by Zane Busby. And written by Paul Perlove and the creator Don Rio. So, this episode's synopsis is as followed. Thank you, IMDb, for these one-sentence, very short summaries. When Blossom is in charge of the home for one night, when her father performs on a cruise ship, she sees Anthony's new girlfriend stealing a family heirloom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my, oh my. So, some trivia from IMDb as well. This is the first episode to introduce Joey's catchphrase, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah.
But without that enthusiasm.
Yeah, he says whoa. I think he said whoa in other episodes. So I would argue that this is not the episode where the whoa catchphrase starts, but
maybe it was the first one where they were aware it could be a catchphrase.
Maybe.
And we're also watching in a different order than maybe it was aired. Like,
that's true.
Maybe this is the like random order first one.
Yeah. The order it aired is different from the order it was filmed in. So
yeah.
Speaking of which, this is the 3rd episode filmed. So it chronologically was filmed after Blossom Blossoms and way before the other 2 episodes that we've watched.
Yeah.
There's some weird like timeline things in this episode. I'm just like,
I warned y'all.
Yeah, well,
anybody that listened, I think, last week or the week before.
They talk about the girl from the makeout party in this episode. I was like, who is this girl? Stephanie, I think? Not Stephanie. Stephanie's the girlfriend.
Sheila?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they do mention in this episode that Joey's 15. And in the last 2 episodes, he was 16. So I wasn't crazy when I thought he was only a year older than Blossom, because here he is 15.
Well, you know, mentally, maybe he's gone backwards.
Yeah.
Mentally, he's 10.
There's some awkward moments with Joey. I remember seeing him when I was younger and thinking, oh, he's so endearing. But now as an older person, I'm just like, oh, he's sort of creepy.
He makes me uncomfortable.
He does.
Yeah.
But
it's
the 90s, right?
Yeah, he's very much a caricature.
Yeah. For sure.
I definitely wasn't thinking of all the things he was thinking of when I was 15.
Or at least not to that extent.
At least not that I know of. I was very out of it, as we learned previously. So let's jump into the episode. The show starts off as normal in the kitchen of the Russo family. Joey's making breakfast. He's making a breakfast shake in hopes of not doing dishes. Ingenious or a mistake? He puts in milk, juice, bananas, an egg, and pie. And his father is just too proud to speak.
You know, I was thinking about it. I'm like, that would be not bad if he hadn't put the whole eggshell into the smoothie. Otherwise, I could see that working.
Exactly. Like the other things are I mean, pie isn't standard shake fare, but it goes with the flavors of standard shake fare. Whereas a whole egg.
Maybe the egg part, but not the shell part, at least.
Yeah.
The egg would just get all wrapped up with the pie and it would be fine.
I mean, there are people, I guess, who drink raw eggs for the protein, but
Gaston's.
I am swole as it Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess. But no, not that. Yeah, no. Yeah. Anyway, Nick gets into an argument on the phone with his friend, maybe his agent, Freddie. I'm not sure if we got the name of the agent before.
No.
Someone who's trying to give him work.
Yeah.
We don't know who.
Yeah, anyway, so Nick was apparently offered a gig on a 50s themed cruise ship sailing to Mexico for 1 week. And Blossom figures out that he's upset because he's worried about leaving the kids for that week. Because Tony's a recovering drug addict and Joey is, well, Joey. So
we also learned that Nick went to Juilliard.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Which is quite impressive. So it's interesting that we're learning that he's like quite a impressive musician, but also getting gigs to work on cruise ships.
but also playing for Ella Fitzgerald, which I guess is kind of normal musician life.
Yeah, it's going gig from gig.
Either doing really well or you're just grabbing money where it happens.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, Tony comes home in his best Fonzie cosplay and is hyping about mini malls because one stop can get you pizza, Thai food, videotapes, dry cleaning, and then also taps for your shoes. He's actually, he's feeling pretty terrific. More than terrific, actually. He's splendid. Because he's been dating a girl from AA named Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he goes off and Joey tries to get out of school, but the cable's not working and neither is the Nintendo. So he's like, nope, I'm out too. I going.
And still relevant. Like Nintendo is still around.
Yeah. But even more so that I think this is before the Super Nintendo. Yeah, still regular Nintendo. Crazy.
Yeah, it would have been.
Nick then talks to Blossom. He says he'll take the gig, but Blossom needs to take charge because Tony has a head full of problems and Joey has a head full of hair. Lols. That is one of my favorite lines. Nick has great lines all the time and just his delivery is fantastic.
He's so deadpan, which makes it just brilliant.
But like not mean, always endearing. No, whenever he says it.
He says it with love.
Yeah. You can tell that he loves his kids, but he's just like, oh, Joey. Just like we're like, oh, Joey.
Joey.
We then move immediately over to the living room where Nick comes up to Joey and he starts talking to him about someone taking more responsibilities, and Joey doesn't quite get it. And this is where the audience gets what's happening here. Nick is telling all the kids that they're in charge in hopes that each of them will step up. Fun fact, I was watching this with my child Kat, and she turned to me and was like, ooh, he's sneaky.
Now, do we see a scene where he asks Anthony this? No. I don't think we do.
No, we don't.
And also, he thinks he's being so sneaky, but what does he think he's getting out of asking Joey to do literally anything?
I think it's more that he thinks that Joey might actually be responsible in this if he's taking care of others instead of him being a dumbass like he normally is. But he ends up becoming a dumbass anyway.
Yeah, I think he knows because we see glimpses of it. We've seen glimpses of it in other episodes and in episodes coming up of Joey really caring about Blossom. Like they don't seem to have a very antagonistic relationship as much as she makes fun of him. So I think Nick is just hopeful that Joey will let the older brother wanting to take care of his sister part override any other stupidity.
Yeah, I suppose he's given him a chance. I was just like, especially after not talking to the oldest, who, to be fair, is recovering, but has always proven to be relatively responsible now.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about it as we get through the episode, but just because we don't see him talk to Tony doesn't mean he doesn't talk to Tony.
Fair.
Yeah, and we find out even from later episodes that they do have those heart-to-hearts, and they're actually generally part of the best parts of the shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, we move on to the next scene where we go up to Blossom's room, and she's joined by her best friend, Six, for a bit of self-care, some pedicure fun times, as my kids love it. So they're thinking about what to say to their friend in case she asks what they did on Friday night. And Blossom comes up with this wonderful response where, involving Johnny Depp, a motorcycle crash, and a love child.
Yeah, my lawn, my love child. Yeah, I believe is what she says.
Yeah, because Six goes, why can't it be my love child?
Yeah. Now, how old was Johnny Depp at this time?
91?
That is a good question. Johnny.
Like, he still would have been too old to give either of them a love child, I'm sure.
Would this have been 21 Jump Street days?
I think 21 Jump Street would have been done by this. He was about 28 at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a prime.
He was dreamy back then.
He's still,
He
yeah.
No,
I take it back.
Oh, man, like Nightmare on Elm Street days and moving forward, man.
Benny and June.
Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Tony enters Blossom's room and asks her for a favor. He wants her to go down to the living room because Stephanie's there just hanging out while, Tony needs to change his shoes because his shoes don't quite say bingo.
Yep. It felt a little, for lack of better term, shoehorned this excuse to get Blossom to go downstairs. Like, I feel like there could have been a better reason than I need to change my shoes.
I wish he had his, like, if he did a little tap.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense because he was like, I don't think these are quite bingo shoes. They're tap shoes. That would have
been great. Does she have carpet in her bedroom, though?
I don't recall.
Because I don't think you can tap on carpet.
They can on TV.
On TV carpet, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter because she goes downstairs and is immediately freaked out because she catches Stephanie stealing a little Richard pepper shaker. So she runs back up. Can we
talk for a moment about the face Stephanie makes as she puts the pepper shaker in her bag?
It was nonchalant from what I...
Oh, I thought it was like she put it in her bag and she did like a little good for me pat of her of her bag. Like, oh yes, I did so well.
See, I thought she went, okay, next, what else can I get?
She got that little adrenaline rush of thievery.
Yeah, exactly.
Her and her bling ring. That's what I hear that movie reference. Yeah, I got it. So she goes up, confides in Six, obviously.
They do a little run around the room on their heels, which is so perfect. With their toenails drying, they're like waddling around on their heels. Her going
up the stairs, too, was quite funny.
Yeah, and you can hear the audience be like, do we laugh or no, this is serious because someone just stole. You can hear a little like one person trying to laugh and then just not.
No, we're not allowed here. No, not here. Anyway, so Six is trying to calm her down and she's like, in a sort of cringy line, Blossom's like, what could, couldn't be worse or something, or it could be worse. She could be dating a guy who's a thief, right? Oh,
yeah, that did not age well.
No, I feel like... And it's always Six, which is unfortunate. But this joke keeps happening a lot, and it's always Six that says it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're trying... I know, like you said, that was a funny joke to make at the time, but like, stop giving it to that one character because it makes me not like her as much.
I know. I feel like... So this show was pretty progressive in a lot of like... especially the feminist politics that it promoted and like talking openly with children about sex as they grow up. And I feel like this kind of stuff, I could be wrong. I feel like this kind of stuff gets dropped pretty quickly. I don't remember a lot of gay jokes in the other seasons.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't age well, especially because Mayim Bialik these days is, and I'm sure at the time as well, like a very big LGBTQ ally, very, pro-equality. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's so tough. And this is why it's hard, I know, for you guys to watch it, but especially like never having seen it. And also being part of the queer community, but also like having a head for cultural context. And I find sometimes the two of those butt heads a lot in my brain.
Yeah.
Where like, I know it just was what it was, but like as a queer woman just wanting to rage.
Yeah.
I need to calm myself down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you say it gets a little better, then that will be amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember these types of jokes being like a big part of it. I remember mostly the more like modern progressive parts of the show.
Yeah. Okay.
It's something to look forward to. Like we'll discover it together because this is my first rewatch in a long time, so I'd love to see where it goes.
So we're giving it a pass for being in the 90s.
The early 90s at that.
But kids, you know who's cool? Gay people.
Yeah.
Don't be dicks.
Love is love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so they both head downstairs to try and confront Stephanie, but to no avail. And Tony and Stephanie end up leaving. There's a couple lines here that were fun. Is there something special about this bingo where you'd have to bring your own prizes? Blossom says to Stephanie. And then they start talking about Stephanie's bag, and she's like, "Oh, it's so big, I could fit a couch in there." And Blossom goes, "Ever tried?"
I feel like a lot of this conversation is Blossom trying to give Stephanie an out.
Exactly.
Like trying to find something that would justify what she saw, or trying to give Stephanie a reason, like an opening to explain what happened.
Without saying, I saw you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like trying to let her know that she knows.
Yeah.
But, Stephanie's not brilliant, as we see later.
No. Yeah, she's a bit out of it, isn't she?
Yeah.
Also, Tony has a great line here. He says, "Hey, you guys want to join us for bingo? I'm sure they have enough numbers."
Yeah.
Good job.
So good.
So Blossom wants to tell Tony about Stephanie, but she's worried that he's super fragile right now because he's a recovering addict, and she doesn't want him to relapse.
Yeah. She's worried if she says something that she'll shatter his life and he'll go back to the drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's why they say you shouldn't date an AA.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Joey then comes home and is super freaked out and trying to think, like Winnie the Pooh. He's like, think. And then Blossom goes, "Oh, that's what that burning tire smell is." And Joey's like, "Oh, where do I start? Do you remember Dad's car?" And we get to commercial.
Great.
So next scene, we're back from commercial break, and we find out that Joey drove to the mall to impress a girl named Kirsty.
At 15 years old.
Yeah, he's 15, so that's already a no-no. But Blossom ends up calling the police with an adorable old lady accent to find out what happened to the car.
I forgot where I parked my car.
So before she actually calls, Joey's freaking out, and he's like, "This is what happens when Dad leaves me in charge." And him and Blossom have this little exchange, and my kid cat is giggling because she's like, they're figuring this out. And stuff like that. It turns out that
these are the hijinks.
Yeah, Blossom finds out from the police that Joey had parked his car on a painted red curb, which means no parking. So the police towed the car, and Joey's like, "Well, I had to. All the handicap spots were taken." I was like, "Oh, I hate you,
Joey."
When he says all this happened and he's like, "And then I cried," I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And she said, "I cried more than her brother," and he's teething.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, I have to ask, is it normal to have your parents' license plate number memorized?
Especially when you're pretending to be an old lady that can't remember where she parked her car.
I feel like Blossom would know this. Like, she's that responsible person. And I don't know. It just seems like that.
I feel like I knew enough parts of the license plate that I could recognize my parents' car. But if somebody had asked me what the license plate number was, I'd be like, "Oh."
Same.
Is it just numbers in the States? It's just numbers, right?
I think it depends on the state.
I don't know.
That would make it harder because I found in Canada, we have a letter combination as well. And the letters were always what helped me remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have a little sing-songy thing for each of them. That's how I remember all the way. And now I don't know my license plate because it's not my license plate and I don't care. Anyway, so Six ends up cluing in Joey to the fact that someone has to actually go to the police station with ID to get the car back. And Joey's like, "Oh, whoa," but without the, enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And Blossom doesn't want to get Tony involved because he's fragile and he's going through stuff.
We don't want to add to Tony's problems.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, when your dad puts the youngest child in charge, supposedly, because the oldest is dealing with recovery, I think it's pretty understandable that she thinks that they can't tell Tony about anything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he would be in charge.
Yeah, that's kind of Nick's fault.
Yeah. And Blossom is sort of in charge, as we see, because Joey's like, "I guess we'll have to wait till you figure something out." And Blossom's like, "Why me?" Because Dad left you in charge.
And I think Blossom has that personality too, which can relate. Like, you have to be the one to solve your own problems, and she has trouble asking people for help.
Yeah, she thinks that she can take everything on.
Even if Nick hadn't have said, "You need to take care of these guys," she would have just tried to do it anyways.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand this.
Yep.
All too well. But anyway, we get a little funny sequence right after this where Nick calls home to see how the kids are doing, and Blossom pretends that the connection is bad on the phone, with Six making this fake static sound.
Have you guys ever done this?
I have not, and I feel like I missed out doing that.
I don't think so, but I want to. I'm going to have to call someone now and just pretend.
Like, I'm going through a tunnel. going through a tunnel now, guys.
Yeah, when Six took the phone and started walking backwards.
And then hangs up and says, bye, Mr. Russo.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's so adorable.
Oh, the look on her face as soon as she hung up of just like, oh no, that was wrong.
Oh man. So again, Blossom and Six start talking about Stephanie and what to do with Tony. And she's wondering if she should talk to Stephanie first because she might have a good reason, like we said earlier. And Six says she's got the best reason in the world. She's a thief, which is, very poignant for a child.
Yeah.
Then we head over to scene 4, where Blossom arrives at Stephanie's apartment. And lo and behold, Tony and Stephanie are getting married. Enter the officiant, who is none other than Little Richard himself in the most wonderful sparkly sequence outfit.
My note here just says, and the most chaotic scene ensues.
Oh my God. It's so funny because as the wedding begins, Blossom tries to interrupt and object to the mire of Little Richard, who just keeps on telling her to shut up.
The way he says shut up is just, oh my God, I can't.
And Blossom's face, like the face she makes when he says, shut up. Shut up.
And you can tell she's having the time of her life because she's smiling, but trying not to break out. Man, it's so funny.
It would be so hard to get through that scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's so many times in that scene where I think you can see a few of them being close to breaking because they're just
the ending of the scene in particular. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And the line that got me was him going, the Beatles stole my music, Elvis stole my hairdo, James Brown stole my scream, Smokey Robinson stole my Swiss Army knife, but I can't prove it.
Yeah.
So good.
And just little Richard, and he's one of these artists I love, especially from that era for this particular reason. It's like the Elton Johns and the James Browns, like they were larger than life.
Yeah.
They knew who they were and they weren't afraid to lean into it and make fun of it. Like I love that about musicians that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even lean into it more because to get married, they had to say wop bop loom bop wop bam boom. And Blossom says it twice, which means they were doubly so married.
Yeah, they're real married now.
Real good. They're married real good.
I should have said at my wedding.
Yes, that should have. Why didn't I think of that?
I know, right?
You watched this before you got married.
So this sequence ends with Little Richard and Blossom going woo over and over and over, and you can just see Mayim Bialik's face, just she's so close to breaking at this point. I
love how she slips in as well. It feels like it wasn't scripted, but she slips in that I can't help myself.
Yeah.
And she, just from a musical perspective, she's really good at it.
She's very
tonally, the pitch was really good.
Yeah. Spot on, eh?
Yeah, I know. I was impressed.
And then, lo and behold, again, we find out this is another one of those awesome dream sequences where Blossom wakes up Six by wooing.
Yeah, she sings herself awake.
Which, I gotta be honest, I've woken up singing before.
Have you?
Yeah. I sometimes sing. I've sung in my head in my sleep, like in my dreams, and I've definitely woke up being like,
That's how you know you're a theater kid.
No, not that one. But I definitely during Pippin, I had some very, very strong dreams. I don't know why. It was very weird. It was a weird time.
That was a stressful show from what I heard.
Yep. Oh my God. I'll tell you stories after. Anyway.
Yep.
Move on to the next scene. Scene 5, where we head back to the kitchen where Blossom confronts Stephanie about taking the Little Richard peppermill. And she has a good excuse. She thought it was Billy Joel.
So before we get to that, I have a question about this. So presumably it's the next morning.
Yep.
But Stephanie says they just got in from bingo. Were they at an all-night bingo parlor?
I don't think they were doing bingo at that point. Oh, my sweet child. My sweet child.
He was getting a lot of squares on the O.
So it turns out that Stephanie has been stealing, but not to fuel a drug habit, although that's what she used to do. Oh, no. This time she's using the stealing to pay for her therapist because she doesn't want to tell her therapist. But she doesn't want to tell her therapist because he'd cure her and then she wouldn't be able to pay him. And she thinks she could use a little therapy. Don't you guys think?
So I know this scene was played for laughs.
Yeah.
But it was actually a really good commentary on the mental health system.
Yeah.
And, she's a little bit dim in the way she explains it, but it is kind of the cycle of somebody needing like real mental health help. But the only way you can get that is to play into the things that you need help with. Like, how do you get out of that cycle?
Plus, like, the healthcare system in the States is not great for any help. So the fact that she'd have to pay out of pocket that much is just sad.
Yeah. So it was a funny scene in the delivery, but when I watched it the second time, it actually made me a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimming the mood. I did it.
Blossom did have some good delivery here, like just a little.
Yeah.
Was very good. And like it was hard to see them play off each other because Stephanie does look like she needs help and Blossom wants to help her and she wants to help Tony especially. And then, Stephanie drops that bomb about keeping that between them.
Yeah.
Which, is unfortunate.
Well, and I also think this is another good scene showing Blossom always looking for the best in people. So I have in my notes when Stephanie says that she's not doing drugs anymore, she kind of pleads with Blossom and says, you have to believe me. And Blossom's just like, yeah, like you're telling me that you're not doing drugs. So why wouldn't I believe you? She very much wants to take people at their word.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we find out in the next scene that she is actually still using.
Yeah.
So we go back to the next scene and we're back in the living room and Joey is sad because his friends won't go to the police and lie for him. Again, they pick up a little bit after the more serious scene. And then Tony enters the room and tells Blossom that he knows about Stephanie. He realizes that she was using again and because he was in that situation. So they broke up. He's also upset with Blossom because he let her down. Or she let him down.
Yeah.
She knew something but didn't come to him right away. And then he bangs his head on the table to show her that he's not made of glass and isn't fragile. And if she wants him to return back to normal, she needs to stop treating him like he's about to break at any moment. Which I thought was a really good scene.
Yeah, and I thought that was a great moment where he smacks his head on the table.
And he can't remember why he did it.
Yeah.
Momentarily.
It was a nice way to add a little lightness to a heavy scene.
Yeah. So Joey re-enters the room. We heard the phone ring earlier, and he lets the other two know that their dad is coming home that night.
Whoa.
So they ask Tony to go to the police station, and he's hesitant because he was an addict for the previous number of years. And he says, he doesn't want to do it, but he'll do it because Dad left him in charge. Enter more giggles from my kid.
Yeah.
He's like,
Sneaky daddy.
Sneaky daddy. We get to the final scene and their dad comes home and the boys immediately confess everything that happened to them. Sitting on the couch, Nick laughs at them and says that, you know what? Tony, your story's good, but Joey's was better. And thanks for the laughs.
They seem too outlandish to have been possibly anything close to what actually happened.
Exactly. So he asked Blossom what she did that week. And she's like, oh, nothing really. Six came over on Monday night for a sleepover. And then Nick's like, what? I'm disappointing you, Blossom. You shouldn't have sleepovers on school nights.
Comedy.
Comedy, and then we get the freeze frame at the end of Blossom going, oh. No.
The best part of that, as Nick is berating Blossom, Joey coming in and cuddling him and being like, yeah, Daddy. Yeah, I can't believe she did that.
I'm so disappointing you too, Blossom.
This was another, I feel like, once an episode, I get pissed about the boys club thing.
Yeah.
Because part of me believes that even if Nick did believe the stories, he would somehow still be more mad at Blossom.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, my sons are kind of dumb. Of course this happened. But Blossom's the responsible one.
Boys will be boys.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuck that noise. Anyways, that's me being a feminist for the week. Thank you, folks.
Well, No Cat's Corner this week, unfortunately. My kid didn't want to record, but she did want to say that she did like this episode. She thought it was really funny. That was really good. She liked the hijinks, and we will try and get one. Hopefully not next week. Hopefully soon. Not next week, but soon. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the outfit of the week. Ding, ding, ding. Let's go with Jen. What did you think?
Y'all know what I'm picking, right?
No, I don't.
Okay. We talked about Little Richard being Little Richard. Let me break down this suit that we see him in.
This is why I picked 2.
Because I went back and I freeze framed it because every angle there was something new happening. Mm-hmm. So he is in this shiny black suit. It's primarily black. The pants has one pant leg with a silver ribbon swirling around the pant leg, but just the one. And his sleeves have a pattern on it, which upon a closer inspection is a silver lame in like digital numbers. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful and I loved it.
Were the numbers sequential or do they mean anything? Like, are they a reference to like a song or something?
I mean, potentially, if there was, I didn't catch it. It just looked random to me.
Yeah.
But it was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mallory?
Okay, I chose Blossom's final outfit. She has an oversized orange sweater and an orange floral flowy skirt with white leggings and white leg warmers and purple boots. And I chose it because it's the same sweater she wears in the opening sequence. And I think the same leggings as well. And the costume designer has talked about, I believe it's in one of the DVD featurettes, that she intentionally reused pieces, which isn't something that a lot of TV shows do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But she intentionally reused pieces because she wanted Blossom to appear like a regular person, and all the characters as well to appear like regular people and not shiny TV characters.
I thought about that. That's awesome. That's really smart.
Yeah. So this was the first time that I noticed a reusing of a piece, and it stuck out to me. And so that was my outfit of the week.
Yeah. So we only saw it once before, but it was recurring from the fake pilot. So it doesn't really count. But that there was a plastic red massive flower brooch.
Yes, we saw that too.
Which was used in the fake pilot. And I think in the next episode as well, we're going to see a recurring costume piece.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I knew someone was going to pick Little Richard, so I went for something else. And this was the outfit that Six wears when they confront Stephanie the first time, when, the bag scene at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And she's wearing this little, like this giant frilly lace purple outfit that's all purple. It's just amazingly terrible, and I loved it. And there was like frills everywhere. It was just everywhere.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a nightgown type thing,
was it?
Right?
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I think the girls are in pajamas doing their toenails and stuff.
I can't tell. Sometimes their daytime clothes look like pajamas. Mm-hmm. It's the 90s.
It was a full grandma nightgown situation.
With leggings.
With leggings, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was gross.
Amazing. So what's the lesson of the week, Mallory?
So I think this is cheesy, but see something, say something. Like, if you see something that you think is wrong, don't be afraid to go and like talk to an adult figure about that. Because the biggest thing here is that she doesn't want to hurt Tony, but Tony is presumably at least 5 years older than her. I think he's in his early 20s, so probably about 6 years older than her, and way more equipped to deal with this type of stuff than she is. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to talk to people about things that you see going on that shouldn't be going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jen?
Mine was, you don't need to face your problems alone. And I think every single character got a little hit. Well, all the siblings at least got a hit of that in their own ways. Like if Blossom had just talked to Tony in the first place, but Tony also needs people to come to him, even if it's with their problems and not his. Like, he needs that companionship as well.
Yeah.
And Joey, like, literally just needed help from somebody. Yeah. So, I think especially with Blossom, like I mentioned before, she's so into solving things on her own or like stewing over it. And sometimes you just need to admit you need help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, whereas mine was just the be straight with people, this whole Blossom and Tony relationship, because, you might not think they'll be able to handle it, but most of the time they probably will.
Yeah. People
and even
can
if they don't, if they can't, then, they'll try and solve it. And that's also good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here comes our rating. Out of 5 Little Richard woos, what are you gonna give it? Let's start with Jen. How many woos are you gonna give? You know you have to do it.
I think this is my first 5.
5 out of 5 what?
Woo!
That's right.
For Little Richard,
mm-hmm.
which is now my favorite cameo so far.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing Anthony's development. I mean, we've seen a little bit of it in every episode, but him really coming into his own and saying, I want to do real life again.
Yeah.
Was really cool to see.
Nice. Mm-hmm. What about you, Mel?
So I did 4.5 woos out of 5. So the Little Richard scene is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan is not a huge fan of sitcoms, let alone 90s sitcoms, but I have sat him down and made him watch this scene, which he thinks is fantastic. It's such a good scene. I docked half a point because a lot of this episode is talking about things that happened and not seeing things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm always more of a show us, don't tell us.
Yeah.
So
I feel you. I feel you. I too, like Jen, I'm gonna give this 5 woos out of 5 woos. Because it was a fun episode to watch. I like the hijinks that they got into and that whole trope of telling all the kids that they're in charge. I love it. Plus, watching it with my kid and her having a blast watching it was just added it.
Now she's never going to trust you anytime you tell her she's in charge, though.
She's always in charge. She's the oldest. She will always be in charge. Anyways, so thank you guys for coming in and talking about episode 4. Next week, we're going to be checking out the 5th episode, Sex, Lies, and Teenagers. Ooh. And IMDb says this is what the episode's about. Blossom sneaks off to a makeout party. That's it. That's the whole. That's
the show.
That's the show. So again, thank you, Mel. Thank you, Jen, for coming and talking about Blossom. Thank you out there for listening to us talk about our fun little 90s show. We shall see you guys soon, and have a good night. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to In My Opinionation.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at IamOpinionation, our website at IamOpinionation.com, or email us at opinionationpod@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear your opinionation about this or any future episodes.
New episodes come out every Tuesday.
Thanks again for listening, and until next week,
the sun is gonna surely shine.